As the old saying goes, you only have one chance to make a first impression. When you're interacting with the adcom, this expression certainly applies. Today, I'll walk you through some do's and don'ts when interacting with admissions officers. First, the do's. Do seek out opportunities to connect with admissions. There are a few ways to do this. For one, admissions officers attend MBA programs information sessions. After delivering their presentations, they typically mingle with prospective students at in-person events or answer questions via chat at virtual events. Take a moment to briefly introduce yourself and ask thoughtful questions about the material they presented. Don't just try to ask any question to be seen. The question must be thoughtful. In the rare case that you get the chance to make a longer introduction in person, have an elevator pitch of sorts top of mind through which you can discuss where you're from, what industry you work in, and what draws you to this MBA program. After a brief conversation, remember to thank those who are listening for their time. Your goal is for admissions to remember and have a positive association with your name when they eventually receive your application. And with in-person events, also remember that many other students are likely waiting to talk to them, so be respectful of their time and everyone's time. Don't linger too long. You may want to attend MBA fairs to meet admissions officers from several of your target MBA programs in one setting. Just make sure they're actually attending that particular MBA fair, because sometimes schools go to one but not the other. At these events, stop by the school's booths and ask thoughtful questions about the program's offerings or directions. If the answers can be easily found on the school's websites, you're probably on the wrong track. If you're asking basic questions like, why should I go to your school? Or how is your school's finance program? You're probably not going to make that positive impression, the impression you want to make. So keep it concise and thoughtful, and remember, other applicants may be waiting behind you. Additionally, some programs invite applicants to sign up for a one-on-one call with an admissions team member. Part-time and executive programs have been doing this for years, but more recently, some full-time programs like Berkeley Haas, UCLA Anderson, and Texas McCombs have gotten on board. Register for these sessions so that you can establish your interest. Since you'll likely have at least 10 to 15 minutes for this meeting, be prepared to describe your short and long-term goals, share a few key reasons why you're interested in that program, and have a longer list of questions that reveal that you're truly digging in and striving to learn about your target program. At the end of each of these touchpoints, send the admissions officer a thank you email within 24 hours. In your note, express appreciation for their time and reference one aspect of your conversation that resonated with you. Personalize your note. If you don't have their email address, you can email the school's admissions office and graciously ask them to forward it to the officer on your behalf. And now for the don'ts. Don't take up too much of the admissions officer's time. We've all been to events where one person is chatting with the speaker at length while the others are hanging around for their turn. When meeting admissions staff at group events, limit your introduction to about 30 seconds and ask 1 to 2 questions max. Be considerate, knowing that they have many other candidates to meet and that your fellow attendees are eagerly waiting. Don't post questions that are too generic. Again, if you ask something like, what's the typical class size? Or what percentage of the class goes into marketing? The admissions officers are going to think you haven't done your homework. Instead, after doing some research, come up with genuine questions about the program's strategy or direction that reflect your up-to-date knowledge of the school. For example, if you know that the business school dean has been in place for a year now, you can ask how their impact on the MBA program has been felt and what lies ahead. That's a thoughtful question. It shows that you know what's going on at the program. Don't ask questions that aren't suitable for admissions officers. If you want to better understand the day-to-day of the student experience or the true experience of being an alum, you're better off asking students or alumni. Ask admissions officers questions that are geared towards the program itself, including follow-up questions on the information they might have covered during the group presentation. Don't be memorable for the wrong reasons. Never email an admissions officer directly to ask about your chances of admission, or to get updates on your application status, or to request an interview or meeting if you haven't even been invited to schedule one. The waiting game can be tough, and it's tempting to want to learn where you stand, but being aggressive in your outreach can be a turnoff and might even jeopardize your candidacy. By following these tips, you'll be able to interact with admissions officers appropriately and effectively. Check out our blog at mbaMission.com for more tips on networking and for our free guides on a variety of admissions-related topics. And don't miss our next video on how to impress the MBA Admissions Committee with your applications.